Hey everyone, it's Eric Hatch with Robbie T of Hatch Coaching coming to you out of Fargo, North Dakota, and we've most likely been where you're intending to go. Robbie and I, side by side with each other, have helped to build a top 50 real estate team in the country, as well as one of the top coaching companies in the country too. Those are tough words. I'm struggling already. How about that?
Words are hard.
Boy, I had a plan and I messed it up. And I say that because I wonder, do you have a plan right now? Do you have a COVID plan? Because Robbie, we're in the heat of it, aren't we? I mean, this is COVID time. We're 45 days in or so. Mm-hmm. And I know you and I both as coaches have been talking to our people consistently about their plan. Are you hearing the same response I am, that like most people have no idea what to do, so they're not doing anything?
I mean, that's normally what happens, right? Is in the absence of direction, you kind of just go in circles and you don't know what to do. So absolutely, that's a lot of, at least initially, it's a lot of what people are doing.
Well, I'll say this. If we were to have a plan today and we wanted to go to the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, I'd want to go to the basement of the Alamo. What I would do is you and I would make a plan, right? Mm-hmm. We'd plan what we need to pack. Yep. We'd plan where we're going to sleep, where we're going to rest, where we're going to eat, where we're going to poop and pee. We're going to plan what supplies to bring. And then we'd punch it into our GPS and understand exactly where we need to go with our plan, right? We'd have a very clear identified plan. Mm-hmm. The problem is the Alamo changes to Corpus Christi tomorrow, and Oklahoma City the next day, and Kansas City, Missouri the next day. And like, isn't that true? Doesn't it feel, because there's so much uncertainty right now, nobody knows exactly where they're going? Am I onto something here?
Yeah, the destination keeps changing. And then of course what happens naturally is we just, instead of taking any steps at all that would be at least generally towards the right place, what happens is a lot of people are confused and they just pause. They just let go of things. And they don't do anything at all. And frankly, the inaction is probably more dangerous than maybe action that's moving you the maybe wrong way, or at least a general right way.
Now, North Dakota and where we live in Fargo, we're just a couple hours from Canada. We're like Canada's goatee. And
we are Canadians, pretty much.
Pretty close to it. Yeah. And if we were to just travel south, whether the destination changes from San Antonio to Oklahoma City, here's the point I want you to understand is either way, I'm closer to my destination because I didn't sit idle in Fargo. True. And I made a plan and acted upon it. And I want you to try to imagine steering a ship that doesn't move. If that ship is sitting in harbor, does steering really matter, or is it easier to steer the faster that you go to make those slight adjustments? And that's what I want to challenge you with first and foremost, is that with COVID especially, figure out a plan. I promise you, your plan's going to change 20 times, but figure out a plan and start acting on it. Yeah. The second plan you need to do is you need to have a plan of A, B, C, and D. A is like, things changed a little bit. Yeah. B is like, whoa, man, some things are changing. Yep. C is, yo. And fourth is like, this is all going to burn down if I don't do something, right? and I made 3 plans with Hatch Realty, and I shared them with my leadership group. These were plans of where we were going to make financial cuts, as well as the way in which we structure some things. And we had to have conversations from day one, Robbie, on what we're going to do. And I laid out a plan that we need to cut $30,000. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't tell my group, actually, we're going to make 3 plans within that. And I just want to see what's that first level of cuts and second level of cuts and third level of cuts. Because, Robbie, you're a guy that's transformed your life, and you're down 30, 40 pounds in the last year or two, right?
Yeah, it might even be more.
Yeah, well, I get it. You're hot. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, just bring it up. You had the plan to lose 40 pounds.
Right.
But the only thing that mattered was like that salad that you ate and that gym workout that you did, right? It's just that small little step. And most people, when they see that they have to lose 40 pounds, don't even lose 10.
It seems too daunting.
Yeah, it is a monumental feat of what they have to do. Well, one of my favorite examples on the opposite side of dieting is when I was in college, there's a restaurant in town called Smokey's Steakhouse.
Is that still
It
open?
is, no, that's been closed for years, man. Uh, and they had a 52-ounce challenge that you had to eat 52 ounces of steak in order to get this manly red t-shirt. If you failed, you got the baby blue. So either way, you got a shirt. And you go in and there's like all these signatures on the wall of people who've accomplished this challenge. And I went in thinking, yeah, I can do this. And what they did is they brought out actually 3 steaks. They brought out 2 20-ounce steaks and a 12-ounce steak, which still, if you see that, that is, I mean, that's almost 3.5 pounds of meat. And by the way, Robbie, it costs $25. Okay. So to get 52 ounces of steak, soup, salad aside was $25. So the quality of the steak was just over the sole of your shoe.
Did you have to eat the soup and salad to win this thing?
I chose to because I am a dedicated person. And so it comes out and I had a plan, right? My plan was I'm going to eat 52 ounces of steak.
Right.
But I had to break it up. And had they not broken it up for me, I would have broken it up. And they gave me 2 20s and a 12. And I knew I was going to do the hard stuff first. That I had to do the 20s before I did the 12. And I barely got to 40 ounces before I felt like my body was shutting down on me. And I did some laps around the table. I went into the bathroom. I might have thrown up all the steak that was in me. I don't remember. But I came back out and it's like, okay, 12 ounces, I can do this because I broke it up into parts.
Right.
And right now I want you to think of what plans you need to make. And instead of sitting idly by, the first plan you need to do is to look at budget cuts. What cuts can you make? What can you renegotiate? We at Hatch Coaching, we knew that people had to make these decisions. So we got ahead of it and we cut ours. We saw Zillow and Realtor do that. We did that. We cut that because we needed to plan, right? You and I had some big planning meetings on how to get through this.
Yeah, impromptu planning meetings because it went so quick. Yep.
Yeah, and the plan was like, okay, what's that first thing that we can do? What stops the bleeding? And for some of you, if you haven't gone to triage yet to say, what do we need to do to stop the bleeding? You have a step to take. And you have to figure out what to tighten up. We have some coaching clients down in Kansas City. They were spending $25,000 a month on Zillow. And we both pushed them and like, hey, you got to stop this bleeding. And yeah, Zillow cut it for a month, but like, you got to rid yourself of this extra stuff because it's such a dangerous way to invest in your business. And then to have that next tier and to have that next tier of cuts, the last cut, the C or D cut, I think is people. A and B are like that extra stuff, those fluff things, those things that we use and invest in our real estate businesses where we hope it's going to make us some money or it's that extra touch. Robbie, we shaved 15 grand off of our monthly budget on that first level of cuts.
Which is no joke.
Oh my, dude, that's $180,000 a year.
Right.
Like we know our sales may be impacted deeply because of this. And so we had to make that cut and we didn't wait. Mm-hmm. That's the thing is we said, all right, we got to do this and we got to do it like that.
Right.
Those kind of cuts, that kind of plan is easy to do. That first 20 ounces is easy to do. Mm-hmm. That second cut, harder.
Yeah.
That third cut is the absolute last one that you don't want to get to. But Robbie, what I chose and what you chose when we chose to make cuts is self-sacrifice first. As people who believe in servant leadership, as people who want to give back and take exquisite care of our folks, it was about us suffering before other people suffer. And that's the choice that we make as leaders, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
And so to those of you out there who are in the middle of the COVID chaos right now, make a plan. It's not going to be the right plan, but start moving in the right direction, start taking some bites, start chewing and swallowing and getting that momentum going. Because if you want a manly red t-shirt that says I ate a 52-ounce steak, and if you want a business that has progressed instead of just protected what you built, it's progressed into something better, you have to start making changes now.
Truth.
This is the time now more than ever where you don't have to ask the question, if I were to do it all over again, what would I do differently? And instead, just do something differently and do it now. Robbie, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think along with that is, any plans right now, there needs to be flexibility and innovation. It's going to be a constant over the next few months because the world's going to continue to change. Business is going to change. And I think of that flexibility or that destination change is causing a lot of people to do nothing. And that is far more dangerous than you going 100 miles generally towards south, even though you learn you got to go more southwest. And you're 100% right. You got to start doing stuff. You got to do, especially in this case, break it into piecemeal. And, when I started to lose weight, to kind of tie this all together, what really mattered to me was the micro targets, doing the little bit by little bit. And
Landmarks, right?
yeah,
That shows
landmarks.
that you're on the journey.
And for us, like if I wanted to drive down to Kansas City, there's a lot of landmarks along the way that I could follow, right? 3/4 of the way down is Omaha, half of the way is basically Iowa, a quarter to a third of the way is South Dakota, and I can break it up to I'm going to drive to South Dakota first. And of course, the destination might move, but a little bit to the left or right, but at least I'm heading in the right direction. And a lot of people just stop and they don't do anything, and that is the worst thing you can be doing. If you feel frozen right now, you need to wake up and take some action, because if you don't, your need to do it perfectly, which is fake, by the way. I don't care if we're in the perfect ideal business. No one will do it perfectly. Your inaction is a lot more dangerous than action that's a little bit misguided or a little bit off pace.
Awesome insight, Robbie. Folks, on behalf of Robbie T, I'm Eric Hatch with Hatch Coaching, reminding you this and every day to go and do good.